Good evening, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Smashing Kidney Disease. I'm your host, Steve Belcher. Thank you for joining us this evening. We definitely got a great show. This gentleman we have on has been on our show once before, but he was on with Urban Renal Talk with Tamika and Steve. Tonight, he's here on uh, Smashing Kidney Disease. This gentleman, let me just give you some stats on what he's done as a warrior, kidney dialysis patient. In 2018, bike ride from Ontario, California to Rancho Mirage, California. Um, let me see. He, Let me see. I got to go down. He got such a large page. What he's done. He did a bike ride for cancer, 450 miles. This guy's done a lot. And let me just, he did a charity 5K. He spoke and then he raced at a charity 5K run. Let's just bring this guy on here story. Without further ado, Renal Warrior, A.K. Wilson, dude. What's going on, Wilson?
What's going on, Steve? It's always excited to, see you and the whole kidney community on here.
Oh, man, it's good to have you on, man. You had a busy
Appreciate it.
year, bro.
Yeah, it's been a fulfilling year. It's been a fun year. It's been a great journey. It's been a tough journey, but it's definitely worthwhile. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just beginning.
Wow, wow. Um, Man, for a lot of people who didn't see the show, before I start, I just want to read a quote that someone had left on your page where they did page reviews,
Hmm.
and they wrote, I quote, a true warrior battling medical condition and pursuing to give inspiration to others. Never give up despite adversities uh, thrown in all directions. What does that quote mean to you?
It means exactly what it says. It's just a lot of times when we're faced with something like dialysis, kidney failure, things like that. Many people think that life is over. They think that life stops. They think that everything just halts and that they can't live out their dreams. They can't do anything major. They can't. They think life in essence has ended, which I thought at one point in time. But right now, as you know, I'm living proof that life doesn't stop, even with dialysis. Even in the face of adversity, we can still move mountains. So even with dialysis, even with kidney failure, I'm out there to just show the world, especially other patients, that even though you're faced with this, you can still live a full life. You can still do things that you want to do. You can still move mountains if you want to move mountains. It might be a little slower, but you can get it done. And
Wow.
yeah, I'm proof of that.
And you did all this in a very short time.
Yeah, well, it was. You know, I tell people that the past couple of years I've spent almost sharpening my axe, and I think this year is the year I chopped down the tree.
Right,
So
right.
it was just a lot of self discipline, a lot of training. I did a lot of self reflection, and I really, through the transformation, as you already know, I've through since I was diagnosed until now, I've lost maybe about 135 plus pounds,
Mm,
and it was just a matter of just staying disciplined, staying focused, and wanting to live, choosing life.
wow. So for people who may just seeing you for the first time, hearing your story, can you just share a little bit of your journey with kidney disease and how it led you to this point?
Yeah, I don't think we have enough time for that, but
Well,
I
just
just
a
play.
short version.
I know. So, basically, June of 2016, I was diagnosed with stage 5 end stage renal disease. I was having some pains in my ankles and my knees. I thought it was just gout. Went to the ER, couldn't walk, and they told me I had stage 5 end stage renal disease, kidney failure. Soon after that, a couple months after that, I through an emergency session, I went through the emergency room again, and they had to dialyze me uh, in the emergency room. At the time, I was about 315 pounds, way overweight, full of gout, couldn't walk, was in the hospital and then in the nursing home for weeks on out, and to the point where I couldn't even walk coming out. My muscles atrophied, and the doctor pretty much said, "Look, you got to go through dialysis, and the only other way that you can maybe get out of dialysis, the other treatment would be a kidney transplant. But unfortunately, because of your weight, you're not going to qualify." I needed to lose about 100 pounds in order to qualify. And so, I was blaming everybody else, blaming the doctor, blaming, just blaming life, blaming everybody. I was mad at the world. But the one person I didn't blame was myself. But it wasn't until I took it upon myself and self reflected and took ownership of it, took responsibility of it, and said that only I can do something about it. And I was going to do something about it and say that I was going to choose life. Did I start? And, it started as simple as literally a 10-foot walk to the porch, up off the wheelchair, 10-foot walk onto the porch. And I never looked back. And here I am biking across California and, doing all these 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. And, here we are 130 pounds later. So,
Yeah. Now, did you know about kidney disease or diabetes before you got sick?
no, I, no, I had no idea what it was. When actually, as a matter of fact, when I was diagnosed, I remember specifically asking the doctor, fix it. Give me a pill, do surgery, whatever you got to do, and just fix the problem. I don't care what you got to do, just fix it. He's like, no, doesn't work that way. Does not
Mm-hmm.
work that way. You got to do something called dialysis. And right then and there, life turned upside down. I was, I was just, it just, it hit me like a truck.
Right.
One minute I'm out with my friends, my coworkers, I'm working, my career skyrocketing, I'm doing everything I wanted to do, living out my dreams, and boom, everything stops.
Right. In fact, you have mentioned in your post that when you went to the emergency room, you thought they was just going to give you a pill and you was going to be able to leave.
Right. So, a couple of things with that is that when I went into the ER, I really thought they were just going to give me maybe some painkillers and send me on home, which they normally do. And then when they told me that I had stage 5 end stage renal disease, I still didn't know what that meant. When they said kidney failure, I go, okay, that sounds pretty bad, but just fix it. Go ahead and give me a pill or operate, then it'll be done.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, it doesn't work that way. And I was
Uh-huh.
introduced to the wonderful world of dialysis.
Okay. So for people who's watching, you said you weighed up to 300 pounds. You got hit with kidney disease. You
Mm-hmm.
started dialysis. At what point was Renal Warrior born?
It was about a little over a year and a half after I was diagnosed. I think it was at the end of 2017, where I had, at the moment, I had lost maybe about 100 pounds. I was getting stronger. And I was just propositioned to speak at an event in Rancho Mirage. That's where I did the bike ride to Rancho Mirage. They asked me to come out to speak. And I went out there to speak, and when I did that, I did the bike ride to go over there to speak. Um, and somebody over there mentioned that they had a relative that needed to hear this talk, dealing with kidney disease as well. And so they said, maybe I should go out there and talk to more people about it. Other than that, I was really quiet about it. Some of my friends didn't even know. I just kept to myself. I was in a way almost embarrassed. I didn't want to tell anybody. I wasn't social at that moment. And when I realized the power of speaking about it and talking to other people about it and seeing how some of the people's eyes lit up and saying that, their relative, their spouse, their sister, their brother, their mother, their dad needed to hear this story, I felt empowered to go out there and actually tell this story, share the journey even more, and say, hey, look, I'm on dialysis. I'm dealing with kidney failure. It was rough, but here I am now. I've conquered all these feats and I've made the transformation. And that's when Renal Warrior was born. It was, okay, how do I reach out? How do I reach the most people, as many people as possible? And obviously, social media is one of the outlets, is one of the best outlets to do so. So that's where
Mhm.
Renal Warrior was born. I mean, I went through a couple of names, and Renal Warrior was the final name that actually stuck, and it had a good ring to it.
Yeah, it does. I just wanted to show our guests uh, your photo, how you used to look. I don't know if
Oh,
people can see it.
oh, there you go. There you go.
Man, that is at the top.
Damn.
Yeah, at the top left. That's when you first started dialysis, right?
315 pounds right there.
Uh-huh. And then the bottom right.
Bottom right is that was probably uh, that was probably about over a little over a year ago.
Wow.
And that was right there was about, I think, 18, 19% body fat.
Wow. That what a transformation. What
Yep,
a
yep.
transformation. Now look, Wilson, what has been the most challenging being Renal Warrior?
You know, um, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I've been thinking a lot about that. Like that question, actually, the challenging part. A lot of my posts shows a lot of inspirational things. It shows the good times. It shows a lot of some of the feats that have been conquered. What I haven't shown as much, and which I really want to talk about is the challenging parts of it. It's not easy. Um, there's good days and there are really bad days. I would say the most challenging part is I can feel myself going through dialysis over the past 2.5 years. I could feel myself in a way almost deteriorating a little bit. I'm a little bit more fatigued. I'm a little bit more tired. Um, but spirits are there. The spirits are really high, but the mindset's stronger than ever. But again, it's just going through dialysis and just fighting through the fatigue of that and having um, to just go through with all that.
What has been the most rewarding part of this
Oh,
journey being Renal Warrior?
oh gosh, the most rewarding part is to be able to talk to so many warriors out there and seeing their transformations, talking them through some of their transformations, and just seeing their eyes light up when they are doing things that they never thought they were able to do before. So really, just talking to other patients has been really the most inspirational part of my journey right now. I think that's the most rewarding thing that I see.
Hmm. So, can you just name all? Well, let me just say it like this. Do you know the total miles that you ridden your bike, far as in all the
Oh yeah.
events that you've done?
So if you're looking at my training along with all my bike rides, um, I'm gonna guesstimate at the moment. I probably put in over 5,000 miles 2018.
Wow.
That's just with training and the events that I did. The last major event, which after I did it, I took a little bit of a break. It was called the Warrior Ride, hashtag the Warrior Ride. If you look up that hashtag, you will see the ride from the San Francisco Bay Area all the way down to San Diego, California. It was about 550 miles spread across 2 weeks. Um, I did that with a crew. We rode every other day. We had dialysis every other day. And that ride right there was for all the warriors out there. It was to show everybody that, look, on dialysis, things may be tough, but we're also pretty tough, and we can still do great things. And that was the main point of the ride is to hopefully empower other patients that you don't have to ride through the state, you don't have to ride 550 miles, but you could go out there and walk for half an hour and reap the benefits of that. That changes things up completely when you're on dialysis. So it's hopefully that right there we would be it'll raise awareness to the disease. Hopefully it empowers some other patients and as a matter of fact, we have a documentary coming out. Maybe hopefully by the end of the year. It's in post editing right now.
Oh,
So
wow. Wow.
so
That would be great, man.
well
How long
we'll
is it?
it's we're aiming for a full length right now. We have most of the footage. We have quite a bit of footage. It's in post edited right now, and hopefully we can get that put together and maybe even enter it into some film festivals and bring this disease to light.
Now, is this Warrior Ride, is this the start of something new every year? And maybe other kidney warriors who may want to join you could possibly ride with you. And this would be like a national bike ride. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, actually, I've been in talks with a few other organizations to do something like that. We're still, it's still in the infancy of it. It's
Hmm.
if it does happen, it probably won't happen this year. It might happen in a couple of years. There's a lot of logistics with going through different cities and counties where you have to get permits at every different place. And then you have to do just a lot of logistics with it. I might do something local where it's, maybe one city. It might be a vigorous, 20, 30 mile ride or something like that. But again, that's down the road.
Hmm.
So there's a few other projects that we're working on right now first.
So for people who may be watching this, other warriors looking at you like, wow, he's riding, he's doing this, he's doing that. Um, with one may ask, how do you deal with depression if that ever hits you?
Depression.
Yes.
I've been very fortunate enough to not have to really deal with that. But I attribute that to being able to communicate with people like you, other people online, to know that there's a whole community out there, and that there's so many there's so many people to talk to. There's a handful of people that I can reach out to when I'm if I'm if I have an exciting goal I can share with, or if I want to do something challenging, or even if it's I'm tired from the day and I want somebody to talk to. There's always somebody out there within the community to speak to, and I think that really helps out. I don't ever really feel alone. Now, in the beginning of my journey, when I was first diagnosed, it was a dark time for me because I was
Mm-hmm.
very antisocial. I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. I was in a way almost embarrassed by it. I didn't want people to feel sorry for me. I didn't want the attention. And it wasn't until I started talking about it where I started to start start to feel empowered by it. And to everybody out there that's watching this, I encourage you to tell your story, tell your journey, because you never know who it can inspire. You never know who's in a situation just like yours. And if you search for it, you might find other people with similar situations, and that will give you a roadmap out of it. It's
Mm-hmm.
very empowering, very
Mm-hmm.
empowering.
Is there a Miss Renal Warrior?
No, no, actually, not yet, not yet.
Right.
Maybe soon. I'm taking applications.
Right. Right. Um, with your last ride, the renal ride,
Yep,
um, you trained really hard for that.
yep,
You were showing videos.
yep. It was like clockwork. It was
Right.
like clockwork. It was the same thing over and over and over again.
Can you just share with us the moment you crossed the finish line when that ride was over? What that whole training and everything meant to you at that moment?
You know, it's funny. It didn't really hit me until I got back. When I got back to home, it was so busy. We had a rally, so we did the ride. We had a few rallying points, and we had meet and greets through up and down California. As we were stopping on the bike, we were meeting with other patients. We were meeting with doctors. We were meeting with Kidney Foundation. We were meeting with just so many places, and we had rallies. And so the last day, when I crossed the finish line, we had a rally at the finish line, and it was pretty busy. We crossed the finish line. We did the rally. It was a whole get together. It was probably about 100 people there, and so it was busy. We're taking pictures, doing interviews, things like that. And right after that, we came home, or we went back to the Airbnb, and right that next morning we went home. And it wasn't until I got back to the dialysis center, because I went to dialysis the next day, where I walked into a dialysis center and they set up some balloons. They set up some posters as I was walking in. And, the whole dialysis center gave me a welcoming party. Uh, and, the lobby, you go in there and you ring the doorbell. So I walked into the lobby, and I was the only person. I actually had my producer there, but I walked in and here's all these posters. I was so excited, like so happy to be home that I didn't notice all the posters. And then the guy that was with me, my producer Brian, said, "Take a moment, look at where you're at." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And I looked around, and here I was with the lobby of the dialysis center with my posters and pictures around and balloons. And um, I it gives me chills just thinking about it. It finally hit me that what we just did was a lot bigger than riding this bike. It was for everybody that's dealing with kidney disease. It was for that person that was in the hospital, that was me, that didn't think that they could lose the weight. It was for that person. It was for everybody inside that clinic. It was for everybody dealing with this disease, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was a proud moment, but it was a surreal moment, and I had a flashback of how far along of all the things, and I think of some of the darkest times, and this being one of the most brightest times, and it was very surreal. I thank God that He led me to that point and really showed and gave me the courage and the strength to actually complete it. But it was very draining. It was very exhausting. I don't recommend it because it was pretty difficult. Uh, at that day when I went back into dialysis, I was 7.5 kilos over. So
Mm.
that was very dangerous, and that's why I don't recommend it. But as far as as far as after that, I was so drained. I had to take a little bit of a break. So
No, I quite understandable, man.
yeah.
That's. I mean, I'm sure you know this, and I guess because you're looking from the inside out, when we doing different things, people look from the inside out and don't always know how other people look from the outside in. But it's no one else across the United States that I know of or heard of that's doing what you're doing. And do you know, man, how inspirational you are to a lot of people that deal with disease? I mean, to come from 305 pounds or greater down to where you're at within 3 years and do the things that you're doing in such short amount period of time is phenomenal. And I mean,
It's
I'm
a
kind of speechless.
it's definitely a blessing, and there's many things that inspire me and keep me going. Uh, just the sheer pain that I cause, I would say my family is one of the main driving factors to help me start the transformation. What keeps me going is speaking to other patients, listening to your talks, hearing other people's journeys, and being able to talk to them actually really keeps me going. It's there. I can, and it's a struggle every time I go work out. I can tell you every morning that I go work out, if I'm not on dialysis, I wake up and I spend some time alone, just thinking about the day, doing what I have to do, and every time I try to talk myself out of not going to the gym. Every time, never fails. Try to talk myself out of it, and then all I got to do is go online and just look at a few people's pages, look at your page, to listen to one of your talks for a few minutes, or see other patients, see what they're doing, or uh, talk to some of the other patients. Just take a look and see what they're doing. And if I'm asking some of these patients to do certain things, I better be about it too. So that's what gets me up, and I just get going. And I start doing it, and no matter how tired I am, I try to finish it, and I try to knock it out in the beginning of the day. And so, it as much as you're saying that I am inspiring to other people, it works two ways. The reason why I'm able to continue to do what I do is because everybody else continues to do what they do. And it's the community, it's our community, it's the warrior community that keeps me inspired to continue on. So,
Mm-hmm. Were you active on Facebook before having kidney disease?
I was active on Facebook on a personal level. I used to use it for my work before, somewhat. I was active that way, had some personal things, but now it's all about Renal Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about Renal Warrior. My life is revolved around it. So,
Mm-hmm. Were you able to return back to the occupation that you were doing when you got sick?
no, I am currently still on medical leave.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm on medical leave until I get that transplant. So hopefully that'll be
Wow.
soon.
Have you received any calls for transplant?
Yeah, well, no calls for transplant, but I did have a donor step up. I think we were talking about it a little bit the last time we were talking.
Okay.
They stepped up, but unfortunately, that didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
was hoping that one of these days I would have been able to tell you, hey, Steve, I got it. But you
Right,
know,
right.
but it's okay. In my mind right now, I feel as if it's a race. The race is this: it's either I get a kidney or I'm gonna shatter some more records as a dialysis patient. Either way,
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to do
Mm-hmm.
either one.
Right. Now, is there any reason why you don't use social media to look for a donor?
So really, the looking for a donor will be more of a focus this year. Last year, I didn't. I touched on it a little bit. I didn't stay as focused on it, and the reason is because last year, in January, I set the goal to do the bike ride, and I wanted to complete the bike ride as a patient. It was very important to me to complete as a patient because the thing is that when I was looking for other people that has done the transformation when I was 315 pounds, I was looking for anybody on dialysis who has done something great so I can emulate them, so I can copy them and make the transformation. Everybody that I seen was post transplant. And more power to them that they did it post transplant, but that didn't help the guy that needed to lose the weight in order to qualify for transplant, which was me. And so it was important to me to finish it as a patient. So that's exactly what I did. So I wasn't so focused on looking for a donor. But now that part has been done, I could focus more on finding that donor.
Hmm. I want to read a comment that I just seen from one of our warriors from the UK. His name is Lawrence. Let me just hide these bars for a moment.
Okay.
He says, Wilson, you inspiration. Well, I guess your inspiration is strong warrior, but I sense a lot of sadness in your voice and emotions. Are you facing down emotions at moment, if I may ask?
That is a very insightful question. No, my voice may be a little down, and I may look a little tired because today was a day of dialysis. So I just
Oh,
got
okay.
out, so I'm a little drained. I'm a
Okay.
little
I hope
drained.
that
I
answered your
typically am.
question, Lawrence. Wow. But yeah, now you said this year you're going to be more focused on transplantation.
Yeah. This year would be a little bit more focused on that. Um, Looking for a donor, finding a living donor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm beginning to book speaking gigs. So I'll be going around so far right now. I'll be going around the state, maybe around the country, to speak about the journey, and in turn, hopefully, be able to find a donor as well.
Wow. Wow. If I may ask, who your sponsor for that?
As of right now, I mean, there's not much sponsors. A lot of it's self funded, or depending on the organizations that's asked me to speak. Sometimes it's a pharmaceutical company, sometimes a nonprofit. Some of the tech companies out here in the Bay Area. I'll be speaking at one of the tech companies. I'm not supposed to mention it until it's done
Right,
with.
right.
So
I understand that.
in a couple weeks, I'll announce it after it's been done. But I'm very excited about that. So hopefully, going around sharing the message of kidney disease and spreading awareness, hopefully be able to find a donor as well.
Now, when you do a lot of these marathons, are
Mm-hmm.
they aware that you're a kidney patient?
Not necessarily, not all of them. Some of them, if I'm wearing this Renal Warrior shirt, if I get to speak, then obviously then they know. But yeah, I mean, typically there's a good group that knows.
Hmm. Have you been asked to train? Has anybody come up to you to ask you to train them to help them get on the transplant list or lose weight?
I so nobody has physically came up to me and said, "Hey, train me. I'll go work out with you." But I am working with a another group, Renal Mate, and what we have started is a coaching program for CKD patients. So we have I think somewhere around a dozen patients right now. The first time we did the coaching program, it was a 10-day challenge. Now we're in the middle of a 6-week challenge where so I talked about so every week I speak to maybe a dozen or so patients post transplant on dialysis, stage 3, stage 4 kidney disease, and what we do is we talk a little bit about being active. We come up with a plan. We come up with a routine. We set up goals. We set up benchmarks, and some of them you'll be surprised. Some of these warriors that we've been coaching. I mean, some of them went from not being able to barely walk to walking over an hour. Some of them have aspired to run their first 5K, and stay tuned for that because I'll be flying around the country running a 5K with them. And to any of the warriors out there that's listening to this right now, if you're in the United States and you got a 5K or 10K or a half marathon around your area and you're a CKD patient and you want to run it and you want some help with it, let me know. I'll join that race with you wherever in the country.
Wow. Wow. You heard it right from Renal Warrior.
Yep. Yep, I
Wow.
will. I will personally, if you're dealing with kidney disease, I will personally go over there. We'll train for a couple days and we'll meal prep, and then I'll show you what I do. Maybe I can learn a few things from you as well, and we'll train and we'll knock out a race together. Steve, maybe me and you go run one of these races.
Well, hey,
Calling you out.
yeah, I may have to do that, but walk half of the way because of back injury. But no, you make a good point about going around and working with people. Is that something that's in the works? And if you do something like that, will you be documenting that, film
Absolutely. So
documenting?
So what I plan to do is I mean again it's still in the works. I'm talking to a few people about this, talking to a team about this. Is what we were going to do, and this is the first I'm announcing this. So I mean your audience gets to hear this is what we'll be doing is we'll be going around the country. We'll be taking in stories from around the country of inspiring stories to see who's willing to be active, who has CKD, and we want to highlight the stories and show how strong us warriors really are. And
Right.
from that we will document it. We will come up with a mini show, and we would small show. Maybe again, it's everything's still in the works, so maybe like a good 3 to 5 minute run, and we'll have hopefully do about a good 7, 8, 9, 10 episodes, and we'll air it, and hopefully that inspire the main goal is to stick to the mission, and the mission is we will do anything to further the awareness of kidney disease and prevention. So
Hmm.
anything that aligns with that, that's what we're going to do. And I think that this show hopefully will inspire a lot of people, not only with kidney disease, but bring the awareness so that it's preventative, so people can stay off dialysis, and then hopefully inspire other people because a lot of what we do have parallels. Losing the weight and all that stuff doesn't just pertain to kidney disease. It could pertain to your financial life, your health life, your relationships. It's actually all about setting a goal, setting a plan of action for the goal, and then executing. And so that's exactly what it is at its very fundamental core. That's what it is. Set the goal, set a plan, and execute it.
Hmm. Now you're about the third person that I've heard within the last maybe month that's talking about going around touring and talking to people and documenting. I'm serious. You're about the third person.
Well,
and and
for kidney disease as well.
I'm glad that I'm hearing you say that at least that is being thrown out there. I mean, at one time you never heard nobody talk about touring around far as with kidney disease and talking to other warriors, even let alone myself, putting together kidney disease education tour to travel around the urban communities to spread awareness. And you know, even though you're doing something, somebody else doing something, I'm doing something, it doesn't matter who's doing what and who's good and who's not good. It's to getting that message out there. That's the final mission and getting that message out there.
You're absolutely right. There's a million stories to be told. Not all of them are told, and there's enough to go around. And as you noted, how many dialysis clinics do we see out here in most of these cities that we go to? And every single one of those clinic must have a few hundred, if not 1,000 stories. And so, this is a very important story. I was, now in retrospect, looking back at when I was diagnosed and just thinking, gosh, I had no idea what kidney disease was, and it's so prevalent, ninth leading cause of death in the United States, and people don't know about it. Like,
Mm,
why
yeah.
not? Why
Yes.
not? Why not? What's causing it? Why, if it's so preventative, what's causing it? And these stories needs to be told, and the stories of the triumph, the overcoming, that needs to be told, and the pain needs to be shown. We need to show people so that they don't so they don't go through it. Hopefully, a lot of the parents that are watching this, will shy away from having their kids go through the fast food, the soda epidemic, the fast food epidemic. And it's a whole nother story. And this, I think you were saying in one of your talks, kidney disease does not discriminate. It hits everybody, anybody, rich, poor, fat, skinny, black, white, Asian, doesn't matter who
Mm-hmm.
you are. It doesn't discriminate. So this message of spreading this awareness is for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And just like same message that I'm trying to spread out too, is that doesn't mean that even though you have to face adversity, that you can't overcome it. We can all still move mountains. We can all still do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. You just got me thinking, man. I may take one of the shows on the road, like go to different cities and broadcast
Hey,
um, from
it's
somewhere. I just may do that, man. The idea just came to
do
me.
it.
Maybe I may go to Atlanta, my first stop, and do a show from a cafe or somewhere from Atlanta, and
You
then
know,
save up and go to another state and do a show from there.
I gotta once I work out with my people and we have a schedule, I'll send it out to you, and you got to join me on some of these places, man.
I will. I will.
Atlanta, Atlanta, Georgia. I plan to visit there. There was another warrior out there where sister reached out to me and said that her brother was a little down. He's dealing with it. He's on dialysis, and I wanted to go out there and kind of meet up with them. And just there's people all over the country that I want to visit, and just spend a little bit of time. It's different when we talk like this, and it's different. And for sure, if you take your show on the road, or maybe I'll go out there to Baltimore and see you, and I'll do a show with you.
No, man, I just really, that spirit just hit me. I never thought about, instead of doing I still do the awareness tour, but taking one of these shows out on the road and smashing kidney disease, or come up with a new show and just travel and talk to different warriors, maybe have them meet me at a certain place, and if they want to come on the
Yeah.
show, broadcast live from there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Wow.
Showcase it. It's very empowering to meet other warriors. And I'm sure it. You talk to
Oh yeah,
warriors all the time.
absolutely.
It's very empowering, and to be able to highlight some of their stories and actually tell some of their stories. You never know when you highlight somebody's story. You never know whose life you're going to save. You never know who you're going to inspire, because there's somebody out there that's watching this right now. And it's like, I was going through the exact same thing, and now I feel that I can go through
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you a story on the Warrior ride. So just quickly to get back to the Warrior ride is I tell people this is I'm not I'm not too religious, but I think through that ride I seen God. It was amazing. It was very spiritual. Um, from the senses, the what I saw, what I smelled, the ocean air, what you hear, all of that was amazing. It was breathtaking. What you see, the cliffs, but just the people that I met. So I want to share with you a quick story on the Warrior ride. We were riding down, I think it was in Malibu. We were passing by Pepperdine University. So we had this big Sprinter van, and it said Renal Warrior, the Warrior ride on there. And it was a van where it was following me. I was on the bike. I zoomed through Malibu, and a gentleman approached the van. I wasn't there. I was on my bike. He approached the crew and he said, "What is this?" And they said, "Well, this is the Renal Warrior. He's doing this ride from San Francisco all the way down to San Diego. He has kidney disease and all this stuff." And the guy's like, "Wow, I I happen to have stage 4 kidney disease, and I'm terrified. Can I meet him?" So long story short, next day he came and he met us at one of our rallies, and I sat there and I talked to him for about a couple of hours. And he said to me, which really touched my heart, was he said, "You know, I have stage 4 and I'm terrified of stage 5. I don't want to go through dialysis. I'm terrified of it. And if I went through dialysis, I wasn't going to go through dialysis." Essentially, what he meant was he was going to quit life. And he said that ever since since he's met me, he's seen what I'm doing, that he was going to continue on. And if he had to go through stage 5, that he was willing to do it because he saw how strong I was doing the Warrior ride. And you know what? That really touched me. And that's the
Damn.
power of meeting with people. And that's why I'm making a point that we go around the country, we talk to people. And Steve, especially with you and your show, if you go around, you talk to people, you never know who you're going to meet and who you're going to inspire, especially a face-to-face thing. It's different when it's online. It's different when you hear it. It's different when you see it on TV. But it's completely a different experience when you're actually face-to-face with these people. You actually feel very empowered, and you feel as if you're able to change some people's lives.
Wow. Wow. Incredible, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that story, I know.
And that's just one out of like a dozen stories from the ride of the people I met, and just from the nurses and the techs. Oh my God. And they all the nurses and the techs. I went through 4 or 5 different clinics, and at all these clinics they had the same story, and it's what you've been preaching all along. Every single one of them said all the chairs are filling up. They're opening up fourth shifts, and they're all filled up, and the patients are getting younger and younger and younger. And what does that say?
Mm,
And I know for a fact that a lot of these dialysis clinics are they're it's big business right now. They're opening up clinics all over the place. Some places right next to each other. So as you can see how prevalent this disease is, it's a booming business to where they're spending more money for more clinics. And what our job is, being you, is to hopefully stop them from building these clinics and stop patients from getting in there.
that's what I want to do.
That's
Exactly.
right.
You just hit it right on the head. You
That's
hit it
right.
right on the head, man. Wow. So, what does the future hold for you?
Oh, so future has a lot of things. So we have the documentary. Hopefully that'll come out before the end of the year. If it comes out and if it goes in, I knock on wood all the time that we'll make it into some of the film festivals and it gets out there. And because if it does, then it's going to bring the story to the mainstream. And you can be like, look, Steve, you can be like, I know that guy. But you alluded to it in our other interviews about writing a book, and that may be in order. I'm thinking of at least starting, at least maybe doing an outline. Hopefully, that would be sometime in the next few months. And then it's this project of going around meeting other warriors. If I could train with them, hopefully hopefully I can run a bunch of 5Ks or 10Ks or half marathons this year, along with other warriors. My goal this year is to empower other warriors, to meet up with other warriors, and really just kick this disease in the ass. Excuse my language, but that's what I want to
Hmm.
do to this disease.
Wow. Have
Kidney
you
disease
thought,
messing with the wrong person, man. I'm telling you.
huh?
Kidney disease messed with the wrong person.
That's right. That's right. Have you thought about, or the ideas come up when you travel around to meet these different warriors to hand them a Renal Warrior shirt?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm working on some new Renal Warrior shirts right now. I have a few older ones, but I'm working on getting some new sponsors. So there'll be some new people on there. I got these Renal Warrior bracelets been handing out to other patients, and if anybody would like one, just maybe I'll just send you a bunch of them, and you can just send it to people you see and you
Oh,
meet. And
please do, man. That would be
I,
nice.
it's because everybody in my most people in my clinic wears it, because they're all renal warriors. All of us are renal warriors, and so it's that's pretty much the main thing. It's wrapping up the documentary. It's going to be meeting with other patients, and hopefully I'm in a fitness challenge with some other folks right now. So maybe the next few weeks, next 10 weeks, hopefully I'll get my body fat down and I'll show you my physique. I'll be the
Right.
most ripped person on dialysis. Hopefully.
I hear you. Hey, definitely send me some of them braces, please.
Absolutely.
I see my address, but Michelle Collins wrote, I'm not sure if she's referring to you or me, but she says, come to Houston. I'm doing a series of paintings on transplant donors and recipients.
Okay. Okay. Well,
I may
Houston.
even come to go down there. I have family in Houston.
Oh yeah. You know, that's like the halfway mark for me. You let me know when you go to Houston. I might just meet you there, but I don't want to go to Houston in the summer because it's too humid and hot.
Oh, right. Oh,
I
yeah,
might drink too much
absolutely.
fluids.
Yeah,
But
I want
Michelle,
to
I would
connect
love.
with her and find out.
Yeah, Michelle, I would love to. I would love to visit you when I'm out in Houston. Yeah, we could connect offline and get some details on that. But yeah, if anybody has any suggestions, if they know of an inspiring story of somebody dealing with CKD anywhere in the country, reach out to me privately. Send me a message or a ping, Instagram or Facebook, and let's see if we could connect and make something happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, as we wrapping down with our time, is there anybody you want to give a shout out? Well, before that, can you leave any words of inspiration to the warriors watching now who may have been diagnosed with kidney disease stage 2 on up?
Yes. So, a message out to all the patients that are dealing with this. Remember this is that nobody can do it but you. Nobody can do it for you. If you make the decision to change, to make that transformation, to get better, it will get better. So make that decision, come up with some goals, come up with a plan, and just execute. It sounds simple. It is simple. It's a little harder said than done, but it's all within you. It's all within you, and you can definitely do it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because you could. That's my message to everybody out
Wow.
there.
So you back. So we're gonna
I'm
be
back.
seeing a lot of you on Facebook because I know we haven't seen much. I know you've been laying low, but are we going to be seeing any inspiring posts or
Yeah,
anything
absolutely.
inspirational coming out of the Renal Warrior camp?
Yeah, so I've been posting a lot lately on Instagram. It's just easier platform that I've been using, but I will start posting on Facebook as well. So you're going to start within the next few weeks. I think 3 to 4 weeks. You're going to see some systematic posts coming up, some inspirational things, some things that I'm working on. Some other things with that, some other things to look at is when when the documentary comes out, please support it, share it, talk about it. The more we share it, the more the message gets out there. The other thing is I'm working with Renal Mate on Instagram on a coaching program. And if anybody out there, we're in the middle of our current coaching program, but we are looking for other participants for our next coaching program, which is going to start in probably like anywhere between 8 to 10 weeks, where we'll help you through uh, uh, to stay inspired, to come up with a plan, to execute the plan, to hold you accountable with that. And so if you're dealing with CKD and you need that extra nudge, reach out to me or at Renal Mate on Instagram. And just join in, share your story. And if there's anything that I could ever do, reach out to me. I try to respond back to everybody that reach out, at least within a couple of hours, if not within the day. So thank you, everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening. You guys have all been an inspiration to me. Thank you, Steve, for doing all the work that you do. It's been wonderful, and thank you for giving me a platform to actually discuss the journey.
Oh man, thank you for coming on. We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, man, to share your story, what you've done within the last year, what you're going to do in the future. I mean, I don't see nothing but great things from you, man. So please keep doing what you're doing. You definitely have 110% of our support in whatever you do. And I know I'll be talking with you off camera, but man, thank you so much for stopping by and talking with us.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll be in touch, and I'll keep you updated if we have some good news with that kidney.
All right, sounds good, Wilson. Take care, brother. The one and
Uh,
only Renal Warrior. Thanks a lot,
Appreciate it.
buddy.
Thank you. Talk to you
All
soon.
right, take
Peace.
care. Yeah, guys. So thank you for tuning in. Coming up is Sisters Against Kidney Disease with host Sorrel. Guest will be me, so you'll see me again. This time, Sorrel will be asking me questions. I don't know what she will be asking, but please share this video and stay tuned and share Sisters Against Kidney Disease as I will be special guest. See you on the other side. Thanks for watching. God bless you. Good night.